We're live and kick it off whenever you're ready.
All right, cool. I'm just waiting for my dog to decide to get her shit together over here. So, with that being said, welcome everybody. Well, welcome back. Also, welcome back for me, your esteemed host, Chris X for the AFC South Fan Battle podcast, brought to you by Prize Picks. I believe Prize Picks is where we go for our wagering. We'll talk more about that later. But either way, I'm here with some of my esteemed friends and gentlemen. Um, More so friends, at least on the Colts side. But you know what? I'm completely unbiased today. I promise. I promise. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and kick off. First off, starting with the man, the beard, the legend, Mr. Justin Gonzalez, everybody.
Hello.
As you can see, he is very excited to be here today. We also have with us a man whose demeanor might not necessarily say so, but you know what? He may look a little happy right now. He's a little sad, but you know what? Blame it on Texans. We have with us Matt Briggs, everybody.
Davis Mills outplayed Justin Herbert. Just saying.
All right. Well, we'll go with that for now. We'll get more into that later. And we also have with us everyone's not so favorite Titans fan, at least mine. He's my favorite Titans fan. But we have with us Adrian Ha is what he goes by now, apparently, according to the feds.
Uh, yeah, that's Agent Hog. It's been out for a while.
Yeah, we'll go with that. And then last but not least, we have with us everybody who always looks for him when he's on a 30-day ban for saying things like potato. We have with us Harish Dugala, everybody.
Listen, I finally got it. DeForest Buckner is here. Also, I just want to say Carson Wentz outdueled Kyler Murray.
All right. All right. I love these statements that we're starting off with, guys. But, you know, before we get into everything, how's everybody's Christmas? How's everybody's holiday? Well, non denominational if you don't necessarily celebrate Christmas. How was for everybody this weekend?
It was great. Got to spend time with the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, technically, I'm still on holiday because I'm off until next Tuesday, but it's awesome.
All right. How about you, Justin?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Christmas. New Year's.
Hey,
It's the same as it is every year.
Don, how does Christmas work in Utah?
Well, this year was a little different. I was terribly ill all week, and I spent it in isolation because I didn't want to accidentally pass family any kind of disease the way the NFL has been passing around diseases or viruses. So I spent it alone, but at least I had a Titans victory to keep me company.
All right. Well, listen, we're glad that you erred on the side of caution. You know, we don't want to be okay with the fact that you were by yourself, but if we're talking about by ourselves, let's just, you know, kick it off with the team who took the lone L this weekend. Justin, let us know what happened with the Jags game because I only saw two plays. I saw one where it looks like there was a botched interception, and yeah, the other one was the run by Zach Wilson. So
hmm
please just sum up everything for us. Let us know what the hell happened.
Well, dynamite intro as always. Thank you for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm somewhat of a wordsmith.
Appreciate it. I think with the game overall, we had a lot of players, a lot of starters that were out due to COVID. Miles
Mhm.
Jack, Josh Allen, just to name a few. And we're going into a game with our defense pretty much playing either backups or the backups. So
Mhm.
the lone starters that we had that were a bright spot, I think, were Tyson Campbell. But long story short, the game, Trevor Lawrence, I think, did really well. He probably had his best game outside of the first game of the year. But I don't know. It's hard to say because the big play that everybody saw with the Jets were just missed tackles and Rudy Ford just not thinking that Zach Wilson is going to go out of bounds, but he doesn't. And overall, the game was close throughout all. There was a couple of misplays. and everyone saying it was Zach Wilson's game versus Trevor Lawrence's game, was just blind to actual football play. Um, we lost. Yeah, it sucks that we lost. It came close to the last drive. There was a couple of missed opportunities before that where we went for it on two instead of going for the extra point, but that's okay. But let's talk about the last drive because I think that was probably the most pivotal part of the game. We take the ball down there. We get our first down across this 50-yard line, and we decide to run an RPO. That was a design run RPO with less than a minute left with no timeouts, and we were beyond the 40-yard line. So to set up the next set of plays here, is I just saw the comment in chat. Yeah, cute. Cute. Anyways, the message in chat was I heard Zach Wilson had a good run. Yeah, okay. Anyway, to set up the sequence of the Jags, like I always say, jagging off, is that we moved the ball down, no timeouts, okay, across the 50-yard line, and 2nd and 10, we decided to run an RPO, which was not an RPO. It was actually a designed run out of an RPO scheme. Clock still runs. We don't know what to do, so we end up spiking the ball. Then the next play, Trevor runs, gets us down within like the 3-yard line. Again, run the ball, clock's running, okay. Comes 3rd down, right? Clock's still running. There's like 10 seconds left. We spike the ball to stop the clock, okay. Awesome, great. 4th and 1. We decide to have, a spread set, which I'm all for, okay. Motion in the backfield, all for, but what happens is that one of our guys didn't get set. 4th down blown, Jets win the game, and that's it. We didn't even give Trevor a chance, okay?
Ouch.
So we lose the game. I don't care. Wins don't matter. Let's lose all of them. I don't care. But the more specific news that just came out before we started this podcast is that the Jaguars are keeping Trent Baalke. We just can't get rid of all of them, can't we? We can't fire Dave Caldwell and keep Doug Marrone. We can't fire Gus Bradley and keep Doug Marrone. We can't fire Urban Meyer and keep Baalke. Yeah, we're just stupid, man. That's all I got to say. I'm done. I'm done. There's nothing else to say. We're stupid organization. That's it. I'm done. Moving on to the Colts.
So what? Before we move on, what Sam was saying.
Byron
was,
Leftwich.
Rumor has it.
We ran him out of town.
Sam was saying, rumor was that Baalke was the great leaker that leaked everything out.
I think it was 100% the wide receivers coach, because if you go back to the wide receivers coach, if you go back to the early stages of Urban, the things that came out, it seemed like they were coming from the wide receivers coach. And then when the Marvin Jones leak happened, which to give our listeners some feedback, Marvin Jones left the facility because he was pissed at his altercation with Urban Meyer, but then the players called him to come back to the stadium to finish out practice and all that stuff. Well, it just seems like it was coming from the wide receivers coach. I don't think it was Baalke, because I don't think Baalke and Urban, I think, were tied together. Yeah. But I don't know what happened, which, there could have been a little going on to keep that position there.
Since you don't,
what do you mean?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, let's not.
Jag front office, jagging off, baby. That's what it was.
Yeah,
since you don't want Brian Leftwich, who do you want?
I think that it can be who I want is that I want the Steelers to fire Mike Tomlin and we bring a Super Bowl winning.
They're not going to do that.
So you want something that's not going to happen? Gotcha.
Pittsburgh doesn't fire coaches. That's not how they operate.
Right.
Well,
I've heard.
Again, if we're talking about what I want and there's a potential of it happening,
what realistically can happen? Would you like?
Caldwell, Peterson, Bieniemy.
I love Caldwell.
I do too.
Caldwell would be probably the most sound judgment you can do, because you see the magic that he did with Detroit, and they haven't done anything since then.
You don't want Keenan Carter?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean Byron Leftwich? We ran Byron Leftwich out of town.
Well, I'll talk about Keenan McCardell, the wide receiver
Okay.
coach for the Vikings. You can always bring him back. Make him
I would
the head
love him
coach.
to be a wide receivers coach, but I want a proven track record of a winner. I like Peterson. I know that Frank Wright was kind of like the puppeteer behind him,
Brains. Yeah.
pulling all the strings for Carson Wentz. But I want an offensive-minded coach. That's what I want.
Yeah. So then, if that's the case, then my next question is, because you know that you're keeping Balky, but you know that you're definitely getting a new head coach.
Mm-hmm.
What does that change about that team potentially? Because I mean, if you're just replacing the coach, but you're keeping everything that put Urban Meyer and that team together now, what can you really do in terms of improvement or in terms of making that team better?
Hopefully this coach gives a shit. Because Urban was just trying to, get his little dance on at the bar and delegate everything to his staff, who was like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to run a college offense, or do you want me to run a pro-style NFL offense? Because what do you want me to do? And no one can figure it out. So I think the coach that comes in is that we need because if you go back to the game, Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson, that whole game, if you rewatch it, there was never a time in that game where Trevor Lawrence looks stressed, pressured, didn't feel like he could handle the situation at all, in my opinion. Okay. There was things that the wide receivers weren't running the correct routes, or, they couldn't catch the ball, whatever. I don't think, compared to Zach Wilson, who looked terrible outside of his 2 runs that he had, he looked terrible throwing the ball. But I digress from that. So I just want a coach that can develop a quarterback, because that's what I want, and that's what's going to lead us to success.
Then you probably want Jim Caldwell.
Yeah.
He's one of the 3 that I like. But Steelers, fire Mike Tomlin tomorrow.
It's not going to happen. They don't do that.
That's not going to happen.
You say that until it happens. That's what everyone says.
But look
at
it's
not going to happen until it happens.
Is it the Roonies? The Roonies are the Steelers, right? It's not.
I don't know.
Or the Mayor? No, it's the Mariners or the Roonies.
The Roonies are the Steelers. Yeah.
Okay, so the Roonies, they've had 3 head coaches in their existence. You got Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. Bill Cowher was the head coach to a lot of really bad Steelers teams. He didn't go anywhere. They let him build it. They let him work what he does. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. He's probably not even going to have one this season. Maybe he will. I don't know. They're on the edge.
It'll be close.
They're not going to fire him. Mike Tomlin knew coming into this season that he was going to have to deal with a crappy Ben Roethlisberger because that's just the way that the Roonies operate. They don't want to fire Ben Roethlisberger either. They just want him to retire when he's ready to go. So they just knew that they were going to have to deal with it. And Mike Tomlin is just, you could tell he just wants this year over with so that he can now go and build a team the way he wants to, but it's going to be in Pittsburgh.
What quarterback is he going to get, though?
The problem, hey, you want to know what I think my wild prediction for the Steelers is?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback-wise?
Yeah, sure. If you say Russell Wilson, I'm going to throw up.
No, I'm actually going to say Derek Carr.
I don't know if it's free agent or whatever, but just look at look at what happens. The way Pittsburgh is situated is sort of similar to how New England was situated to get Mac Jones. It's like they had a pretty stable team around everything but the quarterback, and they were able to get a subpar quarterback instead of a generational talent, and they can prop him up to be better. Okay. Ben Roethlisberger was taken far later in that 2004 draft than Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning was.
Who are they going to get in the draft?
Better team around you. I don't
Matt
know.
Jones
I don't watch
was a part of a
football.
National championship.
I don't watch college football. I don't know, but I'm saying
he was a plug and play Tom Brady.
What I'm saying is that you can put into
that system. There's no one.
I don't think there's anybody in the draft.
The only reason Pittsburgh, the reason Pittsburgh may finish 500 or above 500 is not because of Ben Roethlisberger. It's because of everybody around him. What I'm saying is you can plug in a subpar quarterback and prop him up with the team around him. That's the reason why Mac Jones is doing so much better. That's the reason why, Ben Roethlisberger started off pretty well when he first came into the league.
Well, going back to you said that Bill Cowher has some bad. See, he only had
I know. Why is this a Steelers podcast? I'm so tired.
Well, I'm just saying he had 2 losing seasons. So I mean, the Steelers are not used to losing. So
and they still aren't. I mean, this is the only year that Tomlin so far would have a losing season, if this is it.
Well, that pretty much just sticks a fork in that theory altogether. But you know, while we're on the subject, since we got H&H all riled up, John,
sorry, I just don't understand why they would fire Mike Tomlin. That doesn't make sense.
Because they're losing their quarterback.
Well, and a lot of people don't want them there no more too.
Like new system.
Well, I mean
new scheme, new everything.
That might be a little bit of a topic off because I mean honestly, it's just like even with the Steelers in the way that they are right now, Ben Roethlisberger has been holding that team hostage for probably about the last 3 to 4 years. Yep. So let's just be completely honest about that. Ben Roethlisberger has literally not allowed them to go ahead. Now, mind you, they've been successful. They've been to the playoffs. Haven't really done much with it.
You're talking about the Ben Roethlisberger that went 4,036 touchdowns and 9 interceptions last year?
What I'm saying is that I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is that the Rooneys are very loyal to their people, and Mike Tomlin is one of their people, and Ben Roethlisberger is one of their people. They've kind of had to put up with each other because they both know they're not going either. Neither one of them are going anywhere.
Hey, I'll put it this way. The Bulls at one point in time didn't have Michael Jordan. So how much does loyalty last? You know what I mean?
But who was that? Who was that guy from the Bulls? Was it the GM, the guy who wanted it to fall apart and let Phil Jackson walk? He wasn't there from the 70s. He was there even after that. These guys have been there since the inception of the organization. Well, they've never changed. Why would they change now?
Mike McCarthy got fired. I mean, nobody thought he was going to leave.
Mike McCarthy? Oh, jeez.
All right. So then with that,
right.
John, let us know about the Titans.
This is not a Steelers. This isn't a Steelers podcast.
Tell us about the Titans 49ers game.
What a difference a player can make, and what a difference it can make when our offensive coordinator stops being cute. And Todd Downing, the reason why our offense has been struggling is that he really likes to commit to the screen passes and these kind of gadget plays that leave Ryan Tannehill with one look, and all it takes is just to get blown apart instantly, and we are punting the ball a lot or turning it over a lot. But when you just call straight up pass plays, excuse me, we just call straight up pass plays. Don't do the play action. Don't try to do these screen plays. Don't try to be cute or fancy. Just let A.J. Brown be the receiver and get open and just let the play develop. As long as we can protect him, which we did, it can change the game. And I forgot that Jimmy Garoppolo is the kind of quarterback where his passes look brilliant or a complete disaster. That also helps too. But pass protection, which again, I'm beating a drum here, is one of the most important things for this offense. And we actually were able to protect Ryan Tannehill enough to allow him to make passes to A.J. Brown, who seems to be the only receiver who's willing to beat man coverage. They're probably capable of it, which shouldn't be any surprise.
Okay. Did Bud do pre-play?
Yes, he did. He got sacked as well.
That's that helps your defense big time. People,
he's got COVID. He's got COVID now too. He placed him on the COVID list this morning.
Yeah, him and Julio.
He's a big factor for Jeffrey.
Oh, really?
Although I think, and I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think Tennessee was 100% on the vaccination. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, but that gives us a advantage for getting him back on Sunday.
I think they were the highest at one point. I don't know if they were at.
I don't know if they were 100, but I from what I understand, from what I heard, and again, I can't remember where I heard it. I thought Zach Cunningham is the only guy who wasn't vaccinated on our squad, but I could be wrong. But that is very beneficial. That's a competitive advantage, being vaccinated, which is something the Colts don't seem to know about. But
listen, I don't want to get too far into this.
I'm just taking a jab. It's fine.
Yeah. As of 3 or 4 hours ago, the CDC has changed their
They changed it to 5 days. Yeah.
And the NFL has followed the CDC very closely since the beginning. So I would not be surprised if this whole thing changes.
It's very
and
possible.
The NBA just changed it too, so that might have a hand in the NFL changing it.
Which, of course, Titans fans will think it's because of
Hard Knocks.
So, but we'll talk about that later.
But anyway, so on the offensive line, I don't know how bad Dylan Radins was in practice. Was they tried to work him in as a right guard? That's what they've been trying to do. I don't know how terrible he has been in practice. He was really bad against Tampa in the preseason game, but what he's been showing in practice must have been so horrendous because they threw him in there with just a hope and a prayer, and he was more met his Sorry, I'm fumbling over my words. He met expectations and then some. Like not Joey Bosa. Is it Joey Bosa? Who's the Bosa on? Nick Bosa on San Francisco. They had to switch Nick Bosa over to the other side to Questenberry because Dylan Radins was actually protecting.
Because Dylan Radins is actually pretty good.
And I get it. He's more comfortable at the left as left tackle, and they've been wanting him to be right tackle because they seem to really want to keep Taylor Lewan. I think they're going to have to revisit that in the offseason because Taylor Lewan's going to want some more money. But with what Dylan Radins just did, might need to question that. And I think Lewan might be a free agent looking somewhere else. I don't know if he's a free agent, but I think he might be somewhere else next year. But that's pass protection he did so much better than Taylor Lewan would have done. And that was enough to turn the tide of the game. I know we went down early. The defense really held up. Again, it helps that Jimmy Garoppolo is just night and day. Like, what is up with Jimmy Garoppolo? Why does he do that? Why does he look brilliant and then just utter disaster? What has been missing with this guy?
That's been his whole career.
I don't
That's just who he is.
That's just what he is. Like,
the
they paid
Chad
him.
Pennington effect.
They paid him for winning the last 5 games of a season, and then ever since then, the funny stat is that he only has in the 4 years he's been there, I think it's 4 to 5 years, he has 70 career passing touchdowns. 70.
He's only lost 7 times.
It's
8
crazy.
times. Something ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But he's also only played
I kind of
almost 3 years.
I've always kind of liked him, but it's man, when he does what he does there, I want to give our defense credit, but there is the Garoppolo effect with that pass that what's his name picked off in the second half, Hooker, that. Oh my God, that's such a terrible pass by Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll take it. I love it. And our defense has been the strong point since Derrick Henry's absence. And if we make the playoffs, I think that we'll actually make the playoffs, whether we win the division. I think at this point with 10 wins, it's hard to think that we won't make the playoffs. But I you know me, I'm negative Nancy no matter what. But making the playoffs, that gives me some sort of hope that I just don't want to play a quarterback like Justin Herbert. And I know that seems weird coming against the game that he just had, but quarterbacks like Justin Herbert or Josh Allen kind of worry me. I know you don't want to hear this, but I'd rather go up against Carson Wentz because I think we could actually contain Jonathan Taylor. That defensive front might be able to.
Y'all keep saying this. I don't understand. I don't get it.
I think that we could. I think that we could keep him in check. I mean, Arizona, beside from that first play, they kept him at 60 yards probably.
With third-string linemen.
Yeah, that's fine.
So then with that being said then, well, you know what? I'm not even going to ask that question.
No, ask the question.
I don't care. I said, how much confidence do you have in winning these next 2 games? Because in order for this to happen, in order to, win the division, which you say that
we just have to win 1 game,
but
which I don't think we will.
2.
No, I have to win 1 game to win the division.
As long as the Colts keep winning, you have to keep winning.
If I win 1 game, I win the division.
No, you don't.
No,
yes.
Because the thing is, you're 10-5, right?
Yes.
You lose the next 2, you're 10-7. If we win,
I said if I win 1 game, I win the division. What's the best you can finish at?
I guess if you win 1, yeah.
If I win 1 game, I win the division.
Yeah.
What I said.
You're right.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. The phrasing. Sorry about that.
Yes.
So how confident?
Oh, because tiebreaker.
Yes.
Tiebreaker. Shit. Fucking shit.
You already forgot.
That will happen.
How confident that I am that we'll win the division?
Yes.
I don't know, 50%. I was saying
Are you
before we got on.
serious?
I was saying before we go on that
Come on.
I say before we got on, Titans fans have been they've been treating this Dolphins game like it's an easy win, and they've been looking at the Dolphins like they were week 4. This Dolphins team has been playing really good right now. We play down to competition all the time. I'm I might say that we're playing to our competition, but we tend to play down to competition. And the Texans already beat us this year. What makes you think that I should feel like 100% safe?
Well, see, and here's my thing. Like, okay, if you do lose to the Dolphins, you're in the playoffs no matter what. So,
if I lose the Dolphins, I'm in the playoffs no matter what.
Well, I mean, yeah, with your record, I mean, you're going.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I haven't
technically speaking, I guess.
If I lose both games, do I still make it? I don't know. I haven't done the math on it.
But what I'm saying is, so going
let's
to
say
the
we
Texans,
make it.
So going to the Texans, it's either you win to win the division. Do you play your stars to win the division, even though you're going to the playoffs, or do you?
I think Vrabel tries to win every game that he's in. I don't think he wants to like rest or anything like that. I mean, our guys have had plenty of rest anyway, so who cares? Like, let's get them playing.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm doing a little playoff machine because I like messing with this.
Like I said,
if you were to ideally, like, it's not going to happen, right? But because I think you guys go 1-1, but if you were to go 0-2, the worst seed you could be is 6.
Okay, so then why haven't we clinched yet? It hasn't said we clinched the division yet, or
nobody
hasn't
has.
We clinched the playoff curve.
Yeah, because
mathematically, it's still possible for you not to clinch.
Okay, well then, so
you're basically in, but you're not mathematically in.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Colts. We're basically in.
But anyway, so it's just winning the division is what I think is in question. I like to think that we can win one game to win the division, but knowing this team, we'll sweat it out till week 18 and then have to bank a field goal in off the goalpost like last year just to win the division. And then
with the injury bug y'all are having, I would rest your players, but
well, I mean,
I don't think that's Vrabel's style. I don't think he's not about that. The only person he would rest is Derrick Henry if Derrick Henry would be good to go.
Well, now they're talking about Derrick Henry potentially coming back week 18.
That's what it's talking about.
Get some playing time to get some rest.
Yeah, he's the only person I think they wouldn't play in week 18. Is if he's cleared to go in week 18. He's the only one I think that they would rest. They're not going to rest anybody. Like I said, all of our players have been on injured reserve like throughout the year. They've been rest enough. We need to actually figure out how to play as us all healthy. Like I can't think of the last time the entire squad played on the field.
Yeah.
Someone's always been gone.
So then how confident are you given the new,
confident in what?
Things, like coming in, like, because the thing is now it's just like, the injury bug, I get it. It's just like that's something that you got to fight through. But now with the way that the NFL is handling these as far as like the COVID reserve list, and I mean, you have guys on there that, Bud Dupree and Julio just went on that list. Like, I mean, how much of that kind of factors into how confident you are that you'll potentially win out? Because like I said, these next 2 games, you go 0-2, the Colts go 2-0. Next thing you know, it's just like you go from what I think it's your 3rd seed down to 6th.
We're 2 seed right now, I think.
If you were to go, he's saying hypothetical.
No, hypothetically. Yeah. I mean, COVID is something I can't control, and it's something you can't predict really either. So it's like I don't waste my time trying to get concerned about a COVID outbreak that I have no idea how to predict or control. So I'm not really sure what you're asking there.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it's just like, because I know the whole COVID thing, I know, especially coming from, and this is how I'm going to make sure that we move into the next game. I know, getting hit with those, the COVID reserve list for somebody like a Bud Dupree who's having a great year. If for some reason he doesn't play this Sunday, now, you're potentially looking at losing somebody who, creates a lot of pressure for you on the outside.
Yeah, well, we just got him back too. I mean, I think he was there against Pittsburgh and San Francisco. Other than that, that was when he just came off IR. So we've been without him before, and our defense has generated pressure without him. I think he's probably the least valuable member of that defensive front personally, but I understand his role. He makes his money off of that edge rushing and having very dominant people in the middle. So I would love to have him. I think that we can play without him, but Tua is the kind of guy that worries me. Our defense. I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading Tua. Maybe I just had this idea of Tua Tagovailoa as kind of a scrambler. Is he a scrambler, or is he more of a pocket guy? I haven't watched much tape on him. Is
He
your,
is,
see,
yeah.
that's the kind of guy we struggle against. We are better against the quarterbacks that are pocket passers. We're much, much, much better because if we can just contain the quarterback, I feel fine. But a lot of times with like your Patrick Mahomes, your Justin Herberts, your Lamar Jacksons, like those guys torch us a lot, and it's because we miss those first tackles because they're so elusive. But if you have a quarterback, no offense, a Carson Wentz, who's not going to be super tough to wrangle down when he scrambles, I feel much better about it.
He can be elusive. I mean, there's
he can be, but he's
mobile.
he's
it's not his primary.
It's not the same as what I've been talking about, and you know that he's not a Patrick Mahomes that way in terms of like keeping a play alive, or Russell Wilson. We do much better. I got guys that want to stay in the pocket, and Tua is the kind of quarterback that if he can extend plays, that is what hurts us defensively. That's why Tyrod Taylor was able to beat us in week 11, is that he's the kind of guy that extends plays, and that's what we struggle against defensively because our secondary can only hold on for so long when our strength is definitely our pass rush.
Okay. All right, and that's fair. Okay. Well, then, so, I guess it's just like you're a little bit more confident playing against.
That's why I'd rather see a Carson Wentz in the first round as opposed to a Justin Herbert.
Okay. All right, and that's fair. I get that. Well, you go from having one quarterback that can potentially scramble to the Colts playing against a probably one of the quarterbacks that actually can scramble. I'm going to say more so than he's supposed to be. I mean, but then again, you can do that when you're about 5'6". But either way, Harish, give us the insight on how the Colts were able to pull out the game against the Red Hot Cardinals.
I don't know.
They lost in Lions, not bad. But go ahead.
I honestly don't know.
All right. Thank you for that analysis, Harish. We do appreciate it.
No, very shocking. You know what? Matt Eberflus is going to be gone after this year. I don't know where he's going to go, but he put on a defensive clinic. Out again, I think Kyler Murray was pretty much contained outside of a few passes here and there. Did an excellent job against the running game. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't care. Listen, well, you know what? Since we're talking Colts Cardinals, I think Cliff Kingsbury is a horrible coach. The dude's an idiot. The dude doesn't know how to discipline his team. This is now the second straight year where they've gone over in November, December. It's, when the weather is hot, Arizona's awesome. When it gets cold and when it's time to play defense and run the ball, they're not very good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could also argue that
James Conner was gone and
DeAndre Hopkins
is gone.
was gone.
D-Hop is gone.
D-Hop
Kyle
wasn't
Murray
gone
just
last
came
year.
back from an injury. Like, I mean, there's a lot of factors in there. Why?
Okay, so do they not have the players on their team to get it done? That's on the coach, isn't it, to get your team prepared?
I mean, there's no DeAndre Hopkins.
No,
period.
okay.
I mean,
Hey,
tell me another player like DeAndre Hopkins on the Cardinals.
I think
What's
with
that?
these new wave of coaches, I mean, you've seen Sean McVay do it, right? Where he's phenomenal at the start of the year, but once we get to the home stretch here, they tend to.
well, Sean
regress
McVay's
little
been to a
bit.
Super Bowl, so that pretty much outs that.
Yeah, but we could say that was less.
So was
Sean McVay,
Peterson.
probably a little bit more top girly, running him into the ground because I mean,
Sure.
that guy
Could be.
would probably have majority touches for the whole team.
I don't know. I don't know. I think Cliff Kingsbury was also an awful college coach, by the way. But
Yeah, no,
that's
he
neither
was-
here nor there.
I'm not saying
I
Cliff
just don't
Kirby
think
is a
he's
great
good.
coach by any means. I was
I
just
just
saying
don't think
that,
he's a good coach at all.
I just think that situationally they were in a rough spot again, being without some playmakers that are crucial on their offense.
Well, when you have 9 missing starters, you don't really feel sorry for anybody.
Hey,
Yeah,
trust me, I know it, but
you
I'm
know
just
it,
saying
John,
that
right?
I
You
know.
know it. So
And I think the one thing that we have to account for, because I mean, I think every single team is probably accounted for injuries. I mean, let's just even talk about this weekend. James Robinson went down with a torn Achilles and I mean that's going
That
to
was
be
rough.
that's going to be a recovery injury, and that's tough. That's tough. I drafted him in fantasy, so I definitely, I can relate because he's had his fair share of ups and downs. And right when you get rid of Urban Meyer, now you have to deal with this. It's just like, just dealing with one to the other. So I mean, when we're talking about injuries, it's just like we got to factor in exactly how things go. I mean, the Texans had 26 guys out with COVID. But then when we talk about injuries, we're also talking about the fact that the 49ers were missing half their roster from when they played. I know the Titans got some of their roster back, but
our offensive line was completely gone.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this has been a terrible year when it comes to injuries as a whole. So the thing is, at the end of the day, this is really just going to work down to depth.
It really is. Yeah. So got a stat here for you: 100% completion percentage, 73 yards and a touchdown. That was Carson Wentz in the fourth quarter against Arizona. That is what I want from Carson Wentz every week. And if we can get that, we can beat anybody in the league. There's not a team in this league I'm worried about if Carson Wentz can. He doesn't obviously have to complete every single pass, but he made some significantly important throws on that last drive against the Cardinals. The throw to Ty. First off, the 15-yard throw to Pittman to keep on a 3rd and 15 to keep the drive alive. Right. Very next play, you go down. By the way, and Chris, I've told you this. Ty in the slot, I told you it works. Ty came out of slot, ran a little streak route. Carson found him wide open. It works. So, and then the just immaculate pass to Desmond Patton there in the back of the end zone that nobody seems to talk about, but loves to talk about Patrick Mahomes' little 2-yard shovel pass to the end zone. That's neither here nor there.
I love when Carson Wentz shovel passes.
I absolutely hate it, but hey, I will take the sidewinder throws into the back of the end zone all day if we get to. And just a credit to this defense, just a spectacular game they played. Carson Wentz made some good throws. Look, I don't want to see Carson throwing 35, 40, 50 times a game. That's when I get into potato head mode, and I just don't like that. And I do think there were some potato head moments, and you really start to feel the wheels turning a little bit. There were a couple of those drives there. I was just like, what are we doing? Like, here we go. Not taking the points I thought was a mistake. Right there in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter to extend the lead a little bit. But Carson was good in the fourth quarter, and that's the Carson we needed to keep this season going. I don't know how far we go, but I think
to Carson Wentz's credit, as I was saying, that with the exception of that first run, that was like 42 yards. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor was pretty much held in check, and he actually had to be the one to make the game, and he did.
He was held in check.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor.
That's what I'm saying. It's a credit to Carson Wentz. He actually was able to secure that win when he needed to, which has not been his sort of calling card with you guys this year.
Yeah, no, he's definitely had some poor moments. Now Jonathan Taylor, he had a few. Obviously the first run of the game was
that was his highlight for sure.
I was like, wow, this is all right. Well, hey, we're gonna run this team into the ground, and I thought we were, and they really tightened up. He still had a couple good runs here and there. He fought for yards,
But he wasn't like a Jonathan Taylor like day.
No,
with the exception of that first run. That's what I mean.
No, for sure.
Like, listen, if I have to hear it every time someone held Derrick Henry to 70 yards, you're going to have to hear it any time that, with the exception of that one play, like he was held in check.
Well, he had 108 yards.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That if I have to hear it every time that someone like Derrick Henry has 70 yards, you're going to have to hear it when the guy gets held in check.
But he had 108 yards.
I know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
The difference. He still had
no, but you know what I'm saying. Like besides that one big play, he was held in check, and I don't think. And I'm not trying to disparage you or anything like that. I'm just saying that he was held in check, and Carson Wentz was able to make up the difference, which he has not been able to do.
I think looking ahead, right? Not obviously not worried about the playoffs or not thinking about the playoffs. If you get Carson. If you get Carson another wide receiver and you get him a tight end that can make some plays, Carson Wentz is going to be really good for this team.
What's the Doyle situation? Doyle left the game. Where's he at?
So actually, before you get into that, because I did want to go ahead and make sure that we, ask this question because I still want to make sure that we get to Matt. So with that being said, and I know we talked about the fact that other than the big play, Jonathan Taylor was pretty much he was held in check by the defense. He had a couple of 3, 4, 5 yarders here and there, but for the most part, they were able to get him down the backfield a lot. So I mean, going into playoffs, if if the team replicates the same type of success Arizona has, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with Carson Wentz actually just going and just passing for let's just say 40 to 45 passes?
Okay, so
No, I'm not confident in that. And
okay, that's the point I was trying to make when I was saying I feel like if my defensive front could hold Jonathan Taylor to 68 yards, right? Like I would feel more comfortable letting Carson Wentz be the guy rather than Jonathan Taylor.
sure,
And you guys kind of stopped it. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah,
And
no,
you
no,
said
sure.
it way better than I did, Chris.
Yeah.
I apologize for interrupting during your time.
No, you're good. You're good.
I 100%. I 100% do not want Carson to throw the ball 40 times. And in any, it doesn't. We could play the Jaguars, and I don't want it to happen. Like I really don't care. I don't care who we play. I think that's a Frank Reich thing when you get away from your team. And again, just because it's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's not our only running back. We have multiple options. There's other ways to get things done in the passing game and the running game. It's not just John. There are scenarios where I do wish we ran Naheem Hines more. I really was hoping we got Marlon Mack involved a little bit more. I do think there's other ways to exploit the run besides just Jonathan Taylor. When Jonathan Taylor's not working, you can still run the ball as a change of pace with a Naheem Hines or even a Marlon Mack and still be productive. And I think that's kind of a thing we haven't really explored too much. We've done a little bit here and there, but I'd be very interested in seeing that happening a little bit more.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that. And I think seeing things happen a little bit more, Matt would not like to see the Texans win anymore. In the interest of a draft pick, but they did in fact win this weekend. And we'll get to how you felt about that later on, but tell us about the game now, because we didn't see the Chargers dropping this one or the Texans absolutely dominating in this one. So,
especially like you said earlier, we had 18 people out due to COVID.
You didn't just win; you dominated.
And the biggest thing too is our best player on our whole roster was out. So we did this without Brandon Cooks.
Okay, I was going to ask you who that was, because I know the roster is a little bit different now, so I don't know who's there other than.
Who was that running back who just kept eating?
9-year-old Rex Burkhead out there.
That's who it was, Rex Burkhead. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it was a first for everything. We first back-to-back wins, first 100-yard rusher, first Nico Collins touchdown. He looked real good. Brevin Jordan looked amazing. I tell you who I want to keep, and he said that he wants to be in the rebuild of Houston, and that's Philip Dorsett. The dude looked amazing. He did get hurt. They're saying it's a MCL sprain, so hopefully he comes back. But Davis Mills, there was a comment earlier, and I agree with this 100%. Pep Hamilton made this man look amazing. He's the one who's been calling the plays, not Tim Kelly. So we do need to bring him back. We do need to make him the offensive coordinator because he knows what he's doing. He helped Justin Herbert, and he made Davis Mills look way better than Justin Herbert Sunday. So he had 254 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think a QB rating of 130, something like that. So to do, and here's the biggest stat that I love: staying more wins as Deshaun Watson. So let's do it.
I see that there's still some Watson animosity there. So I know that's a tough subject for you.
Well, yeah. Oh, well, let me ask you, Justin. Is there some hatred towards Ramsey?
I mean, outside of him being a schmuck, like a piece of shit.
So yes, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't really have. I enjoyed his time in Jacksonville. It's just,
agreed, and that's the same with Watson. But Watson turned his back on Houston, and
he turned his front on someone else.
Exactly, piece of shit. So I'm the same with Justin.
So then
I hate the guy.
So then, Matt, with that being said, because I mean, I think that the Texans at this point, it looks like they're not trying to tank. It looks like they're just out here just trying to play as much spoiler as possible. I mean, I know what you want them to do, but what do you actually see them doing, given that they just beat a team that ultimately is still in playoff contention?
I don't see them beating the Niners. Um, I can see an upset against the Tennessee because they just play each other hard every year. I mean, there's not a game that was close between the Titans and the Texans. Um, so I can see them upsetting, especially if they sit starters. So if we win one more, it's not going to really hurt the draft stock at all. It's really not. So
let me ask you a question: is it like a priority to you to have a higher draft pick when assuming you're going to accrue a bunch of draft capital with Deshaun Watson trade? You're going to get plenty of picks as opposed to as you want something higher. Does it really matter at this point?
I mean, I do. I still do want a top 5 pick because I think the top 5 is you got Hutchinson, the guy from Oregon, Hamilton, and Stingley. I think those guys are pivotal for any organization that gets them. So those are the guys I want. But I do want to stay in the top 5 just to get those one of those guys. Obviously, the Jags are probably going to get Hutchinson, which I really want. You don't want him? You really don't want him?
Oh, I want to. I would love to have Hutchinson.
Who you want?
My guy Aiden. He wants a lineman.
Thibodeau.
Oh, you want Thibodeau?
Either way, I mean they're both be great on the end for any team. So I mean it could be either way. But I just like Hutchinson's motor. He reminds me a lot of JJ Watt.
If I was the Jags, I would be praying to get Evan Neal.
Why?
Because you need to protect your assets.
Like, if we re-sign Cam Robinson, which will probably happen, that fixes that problem.
But Cam Robinson's not good.
Is he not? Okay. What facts do you have to back that up?
I'm sure you think he's great. I don't know. I just hear Jacksonville fans hate him. So
from an Indianapolis perspective, I got you. Yeah, I think we need a pass rusher since we're at the bottom of the tier in sacks. So I'm gonna go Thibodeau.
I think you do too.
So in terms of and Justin, I'll ask you this. So in terms of the Jags, because we know that you guys haven't had the best of luck on either side, I guess. Just with going, do you feel like defense just absolutely needs to be addressed as soon as possible, or are we looking more towards something that would potentially be? Because, like I said, after this year, Trevor Lawrence, I mean, as a rookie, to go through the shit that he went through when it came to Urban Meyer, I mean, do you go with defense because defense needed, or do you go with offense just to show him that?
Is your defense that bad, Justin?
Like, are you trying to actually get him to kind of have a little bit more faith in the fact that you're building around him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's based off what you do in free agency, right? Because that comes first. If you can go out there and sign like an Allen Robinson, I don't think they're going to get a high-tier wide receiver like a Devontae Adams, okay? Yeah. I mean, to be realistic, I can see something like an Allen Robinson.
I don't think Adams or Rodgers are leaving Green Bay,
So I think, when it comes to that, if you can put pieces around him going into the draft, then yeah, you can focus defense. But if none of those free agents want to sign here because we're such a disaster of a clusterfuck, then yeah, you're going to have to draft wide receivers and you're going to have to go offense. So I think realistically, a realistic approach is out of the top 5 guys that are in the first round, you take one of them, okay? And I would hope it would be Thibodeau because from what I'm seeing in the mock drafts, there are some offensive weapons in the second round, which we're sitting with a very high pick. That takes someone to fill that point. So
yeah, you can thank the Lions for that one.
I'm with you, Justin. If I could choose either defense or offense, I want us to go. Our identity is leaning towards the defense because we got a good defense. The Texans got a real good defense.
They do.
They're always on the field, so that's what's hurting the defense. So if we can continue to build that defense, it'd be great.
I mean,
listen, guys, if we could sign like a Michael Gallup, I mean, look at our leading receivers. Tavon Austin and Laquan Treadwell. I mean, yeah, two former first round picks like 8 years ago,
Yeah.
right? But I think at this point, like if we could go sign someone like a Michael Gallup, which is another person that I think would sign, right? That
Yeah.
kind of fits that mold. I think Trevor would excel.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. So with that being said, I think we have. Well, of course, there's no bye weeks, but real quick, we're gonna kind of go in reverse order. What do we see as predictions for this week's game for each of you guys, starting with Matt?
I see Texans losing 24-17. Yeah.
Harish, what do we have?
For the Colts game?
Yes.
Man, I don't know, dude. It just depends. I guess as of today, knowing what we know, I'll take the Colts 19-15, 18-15. I'm gonna take a weird score.
Against the Raiders, right? Raiders.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They just
Where's
put
it
a
at?
bunch
Is
of,
that at home or is it in Vegas?
It's at home.
It's at home.
So, and they put some guys on COVID list too. If this again,
today is too early to know who's going to be in or out.
well,
on the COVID
if
list.
the NFL also changes the COVID rule, we'll get everybody back by Sunday. So
Yeah.
if we get everybody back by Sunday, I think the Colts will win in a blowout.
Okay.
But if we don't, I'll say like 18-15. At 100%, I don't see the Raiders aren't good enough to beat us.
All right. John, what about you?
Titans lose 45-0.
Justin, what about you?
Jesus.
I don't know who we play, but what's going to happen is that we're going to keep it close, and it's going to come down to the last 30 seconds, and they're going to do something stupid, and it's going to break my heart, and we're going to lose because we're a trash can organization until we're not.
You actually play the Patriots.
Oh, good.
So we're going to keep it close. Then we're going to do something stupid, and we're going to lose because we're a trash can organization.
All right. Well, with that being said, guys, that is it for us for tonight. Well, actually, before we actually go to Twitter handles and all that other good stuff, Matt, can you please explain Prize Picks to them because you do so much of a better job doing it than I do?
So yeah, I mean it's just like the FanDuel betting and the DraftKings, just you pick the over and under for certain players and you win money pretty easy. If you put in the promo code FBSN, they match your offer. So I mean you get free money if you type in the promo code. Me and Harisa both done it. We won easy money.
It's super easy.
Yeah, layout smooth. So yeah, join. I mean, I've won over almost $100 so far. So check it out.
Do it.
All right. And with that being said, guys, let them know where to find you on the Twitter sphere or what other social media, or in John's case, what carrier pigeons to use to go ahead and reach him via pen pal.
All you gotta do is just text what you want him to read. He can see it. I mean, he just uses the government,
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we'll start with John then. We'll start with John.
What do you want? What do you want to know?
we can reach you on social media since you're a semi-celebrity.
You can't.
Make it a Titan.
I did create a Twitter last week on the podcast. So,
all right.
I have followed exactly one person, which is our Twitter thing, and I will not follow anyone else, and I don't expect to get any other followers. I don't expect to tweet anything either.
All right, that's fantastic.
You are cold-hearted, John.
Can you please let the people know exactly where to find you and not expect a response from you?
Twitter.
You're going to give them that Twitter handle, sir. All right, Harish, what about yourself?
You can find me everywhere at the Uncle Gandhi.
See, John?
Oh, sorry. You can find me everywhere at Uncle Gandhi.
John and I share an account. Actually.
There you go.
It seems that both, or we
So which-
both have a positive
So which one cheated?
forecast for the Colts.
Right. It's like that guy in the Facebook group who shared a page with his like family member. Right.
His wife, yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why I said-
His wife.
Yeah,
Yeah,
oh,
we're
I get
sharing
what
a
you're
Twitter
saying. Oh,
page,
okay, I
yeah.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a joint Twitter account.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
I don't like going to Twitter because what is it? Who is it? I think it was Dave Chappelle. I don't go on Twitter because it's not a real place.
Listen, it's either we know, John, even though you're not on social media, you will end up in a seedy hotel in Ohio going to
I did, yeah.
going to an amusement park
That
slash
was awesome.
on
That
a
was-
federal assassination. But we're
Hey,
not
that was fun.
neither here nor there. So then with Justin, how do they find you at Bearded Guns?
Like John's Twitter, Urban Meyer's career with the Jaguars, it's just an emptiness void. So you can find me at IHateUrbanMeyer.com /
This is
Jaguars.
real, by the way.
I want to start.
are
I think I'm going to
a
be.
touchdown
I think my
organization.
Twitter account's going to be named Urban Meyer's right hand.
Oh no.
No, it should be Urban Meyer's blue jeans because you got girls grinding all over.
Oh God.
Hashtag,
And what about you?
we're bad.
So, thank you. And then Matt, what about yourself?
Cancel Tim Kelly everywhere.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's self-explanatory. So it's no longer at Sad Texas fan. It's just I canceled Tim Kelly.
Well, so it looks like we did. So yeah.
All right. All right. You can find me on Twitter at CJ Colts fan. All right. And with that being said, people, we will be back next Sunday, I believe. Sunday?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay.
I'll
Yep,
oversleep
next Sunday.
again.
If the Titans lose, I'll be here.
All right. Well, listen, everybody. Merry belated Christmas. Happy upcoming New Year. We will see you on the flip side in the new year. I'm not gonna do one of those cheesy, one of those see you in 2022 things because no, we're not gonna do that. That's awful.
But that's what we're gonna do.
Listen,
See you in 2022.
I want to see for a whole nother year.
See, that's what I wanted to avoid. That was
If I'm lucky.
to avoid.
Have a prosperous new year.
22.
All right, everybody, have a good one, and be safe this weekend. Stay away from the vid.
Bye.
Peace.